Let's unwrap our model now. I'm going to open up the material editor and set up a checker map in the diffuse slot. Okay, and as you can see, the mapping is all messed up and we need to fix it. Right, let's start with the side element. Okay, let's reduce the turbo smooth to 1 and edit poly and collapse 2. Okay, let's clear the existing mapping and add unwrap UVW modifier. So now we need to create some seams to unwrap the model. Okay, I'm gonna select this edge loop here and same on the other side. Once you have them selected, press this button here to convert your edge selection to seams. And we also need to make one horizontal cut here. You want to connect the both seams on the opposite sides. You want to connect them. Don't extend any further than the blue line. Okay, cut. It's ready. And now select one of the front faces, expand the face selection to seams, and use the quick planar map. Right, same for the back. And for the sides, we're going to use the pelt mapping. Once it's stretched out, you can use the relax to relax the UVs. This will make them take their natural form. And rotate them like this. Okay. Try to get them vertical. Perfect. Now let's rescale the elements. This will make sure the UVs are the same size for both of them. And we can move on. Right, same basic procedure for this part here, or the back. Reduce the turbo smooth to 1. Collapse the editable poly, clear the previous mapping so it's not getting in the way, and add unwrap UVW. And again we need to create some seams, so press 2 to go in the edge selection mode, change the edge display to thin so you can see what you have selected. The thick is I don't like it at all. Can't really tell what you have selected. If you set it to thin, you can easily see the edges. Okay, select this loop and the one on the opposite side. Okay, cut in some seams. And let's select this loop over here. It will not be too visible. If you select it on the other side, you might get it. You might notice the seam, but since it's on the inside, it will not be visible at all. And deselect these extending edges and create seams. Alright. Quick and easy. And planar map for this side. Planar map for the opposite side. And pelt for the rest. And finally relax it by face angles. Actually, let's rotate it back. And let's flip it around. Perfect. Okay, now select both elements and rescale them like this. Great. Right, for the opposite side, we're gonna make it unique. So it's not an instance anymore. And we're gonna flip the UVs to get them facing the correct way. Right now they are mirrored. And now they're fine. Okay. Now let's do this element here. Okay, go to Turbo Smooth, set it to 1. Collapse to editable poly. And we're gonna create some seams. Okay, first let's clear the mapping. Down wrap. Now let's select these edge loops. Okay, create seams. And same on the other side. And finally one more seam along the back edge here. Right, so for the sides again it's the planar map. And for the rest it's the pelt. And relax by face angles again. Perfect. And all we gotta do is rotate it correctly. Okay, and finally rescale the elements to make sure the UVs are scaled correctly. Alright. Next piece. And it's this seat cushion here. Reduce the Turbo Smooth to 1. Clear the mapping. And down wrap. Okay, so this one is a bit more difficult to see. Change the edges to thin. And we need to select this inner edge loop here. Just like this. Usually try to make the seams as they would be in real world when the object would be upholstered. So try to imagine the pattern of the fabric that was stretched over the frame or the filling. So in this case it's just along the seams. Okay, cut them in. And first let's planar map the bottom. And then let's use the pelt on the top Stretch it out. And relax. Quick and simple. There's a bit of a distortion here, so let's try relaxing by edge angles as well. And back to faces. Okay, that's straightened it out. And let's rotate it. If for some reason it's inside out, let's mirror it. And rescale the elements. Okay, very well. Looks good. And now for this second seat cushion, we're gonna make it unique and flip the elements around. Alright, so for the foot we're gonna use a simple UVW map set to box and make it square. Alright, and now the pillows. Let's do them one by one. Okay, so clear the mapping. And unwrap. And select these edge loops. Right, create some seams. And I'm gonna use a point-to-point seam here on the bottom to connect these two edges, or two seams. It's good. Okay, we can use quick planar map for the front and back. Stretching is not too visible. And the pelt for the sides. Looks like the edges were not completely cut. Let's zoom in. Select this edge and convert it to seams. Okay, now reselect everything and start pelt again. Now it will stretch it out better. Okay, good enough, and let's relax it. Okay, let's relax by edge angles. And by face angles again. Sometimes if the element is very long and thin, it doesn't work correctly. That's alright. We can add another seam. and unwrap both sides separately. Okay, let's relax it. Okay, let's increase the stretch value. Okay, set stretch to 0 and relax again. Okay, close enough. Let's rotate it. And now the other side. Stretch it out a bit. And close enough. Okay, and let's mirror it horizontally. Actually, no. Looks good. Maybe let's select both of these elements. Okay, enable select by element. Now you select just one vertex and the whole element is selected. And let's mirror them both. Right. Select everything and rescale elements. Maybe let's rotate. Let's rotate this element here. Make it vertical. And this one as well. Right, and now repeat the same procedure for the rest of the pillows. Okay, create some seams. Some point-to-point seams. Make sure they are connected. And let's try to unwrap this one as a single piece. Alright, so seam is not connected here. Let's fix the seam. and redo the pelt. Okay, good. Now let's relax it and stretch it out. Okay. Reduce the stretch and relax again. Maybe try stretching some more. Maybe let's stretch by edge angles as well. Okay, good. And now just relax by face angles. This looks like it needs a bit of a stretch. And close enough. Okay, so let's planar map the front and back. And rescale the elements. Okay, first I'm gonna rotate them. And finally rescale. Okay, same here. Clear mapping. Unwrap. Isolate it. Okay, maybe let's make a seam for this one at the bottom. Right, and planar map the front and back. And pelt the rest. And finally, let's relax it with a bit of a stretch. Okay, first let's stretch it out more. Maybe by edge angles as well. And then by face angles. Let's try resetting the stretch to 0. See how that works. and increase the stretch slightly. Okay, maybe one more time by edges and back to faces. Okay, good. Now let's rotate it. And rescale the elements. Okay. This element is a bit too twisted. Let's rotate it straighter. And scale them all down to a more reasonable size. Alright, so unhide all. And let's do the next piece. Some point-to-point seams. And planar map front and back. Okay, basically the same thing all over again. And rotate like this. And finally rescale the elements. And you're done. It's a bit messed up on this side here. Let's open it in the editor. Let's relax this part separately from the rest of the model. Okay, good enough. Now let's look at the piping here. So what you can do is you can enable generate mapping coordinates option here on the unwrap. Okay, let's go back. Let's rotate it 180 degrees. Now the seams for the unwrap are on the other side. And just scale it up. Actually, it looks like we need to scale it the other way around. Looks good. Let's mirror it. Perfect. That one was fixed automatically, this one as well. So now we just need to fix the piping on the pillows. Actually, there is no piping on the pillows, and that's alright. And we just need to fix the piping on the back element here. Okay, let's rotate it 180 degrees so the seam is on the inside. Let's scale it up so we can see better. Close enough. That's good. Okay. Let's freeze the pillows and the piping. If you select similar, it might select only the piping, but in this case it also selected the seats. We can deselect them and freeze just the piping. I'm also gonna hide the feet. Okay, now we can attach all these pieces together. Okay, first I'm going to convert them to editable poly. Okay, and now attach them together. Okay, add unwrap UVW. Select all. And rescale the elements. Okay, all the squares are the same size now. Let's add turbo smooth. And unfreeze all. Now we can add edit poly. And attach the piping. Actually, we can do it a bit differently. Let's delete edit poly, unwrap, and select one of the piping pieces and reset the size to 4 times less. Okay, now let's set it to 6. Let's set the sides to 6 for this piece of piping here as well. And now we can attach them to our main sofa model. Right, let's do the unwrap thing again. Just select all, and rescale the elements. Right, let's add turbo smooth. I'm also gonna attach the pillows together. Just to get the proportions of the UVs correctly. Unwrap, select all, and rescale. Let's rotate this part a bit straighter. Now let's scale it manually to match the size of the sofa. So the squares look pretty close. Let's leave it like this. Collapse the editable mesh. And let's detach the pillows. Right. Let's reset the X-forms for our model. Okay, let's convert to editable poly first without the turbo smooth. Reset X-form, center pivot, and convert to editable mesh. And finally turbo smooth. And reset the pillows as well. If you're not going to be editing your models any further, you can convert them to editable mesh. It will take a bit less memory. And it looks like the pillows flipped inside out. You can fix that by using the normal modifier and collapsing to editable mesh. Right, so the model is unwrapped and ready for materials.